Welcome back to our series, How to Transform Pauses into Influence. This is Roberto Monaco with InfluenceOlogy. Just in case you have missed our first 4 videos in this series, I have included a link for you in the end of this video. Now today, you are going to be discovering how to use pauses when conducting presentations with slides. Could be PowerPoint or could be Keynote. Now, most presenters, when I say most, I'd say 90%, maybe 95% of presenters out there, when they use PowerPoint or Keynote, they think these tools are going to make them even more effective, which is not true. In most cases, 90% or more, PowerPoint, Keynote make presenters ineffective for so many reasons. And we don't have time to cover all these reasons here today. But the biggest reason, I think, is because most presenters start reading the slides. And it's bad in so many levels. Number one, the audience gets bored. Number two, by the time you're reading the slides, the audience pretty much has finished reading. They can read faster than they can talk. Right? Number three, you're sending this message unconsciously to your audience like, hey, you don't know how to read it, so let me read the information to you. Right? So anyway, it's not good, it's not professional, not persuasive, it's not good. And another reason, maybe the fourth reason here, a lot of times when you're reading the slides, you're not focusing on the audience. So reading is bad, don't do it. Don't do it, don't do it. So before I teach you how to use pauses to solve the problem, there's a couple things that you can do. Again, this is not a class on how to improve your PowerPoint, but I want to give you 3 quick tips here. So let's say I'm doing a presentation and this is one of my slides and I literally start reading. It was a beautiful day in Hawaii and I was riding a horse in this gorgeous white sand beach inside a private property. The water is so clear. So now I start reading, you go like, man, that's like kind of boring. I can show a picture. So the first quick tip here for you to improve your PowerPoint is to transform text into pictures. So once you finish up your deck, ask yourself, how can I transform every single word here into pictures? Number one. Number two, let's say I'm presenting to an audience and I show this slide and start reading the slide. You are going to learn how to speak with unstoppable confidence in front of an audience. So let's say, for example, I don't have a picture. What I can do, I can transform all this text here into one word. So today I'm going to show you how to be unstoppable, how to have unstoppable confidence. See, I transform all that phrase into one word. So the second strategy, if you don't have a picture, for example, then you can reduce the amount of text. Or sometimes if you have more like a technical presentation, maybe you're showing a lot of numbers and you have this very complicated spreadsheet, another strategy is to give a handout. So basically you print a different document, not your presentation, you create a different document and you pass to your audience. And maybe they can take the document home and read it, or maybe you can literally put a black screen so nothing is showing up and you start analyzing the report with them. Don't try to cover too many details in the slide. I'm against, okay? So you give a handout. So once you have done these 3 quick strategies, and you have to show text, right? I said, Roberto, there's no way around it. I'm quoting someone. I want to put some questions here. I want to show a graph. So here's some ideas for you, okay? Here's what not to do. So let's say I'm presenting this slide. I show these slides. I go, if you can explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. Albert Einstein said that. See, that's kind of like a way to bore you very fast. Why? Because I'm reading the quote. And by the time I show this slide, what happens? You're reading. Remember that every time you put on a slide, the audience, automatically they're conditioned to read it. That's why it's a challenge for us when you show a slide and you try to read over their reading internally in their heads. That's the challenge. So how to present that slide, pausing, I would say something like this. Guys, I want to show you one of my favorite quotes here from Albert Einstein. Isn't that powerful? Isn't that true? I really believe that if I cannot explain my idea to a child, then I'm not doing a good job. So what are you doing today specifically to make sure your message is the most persuasive possible? What are you doing today to simplify your message? You see, I am giving the audience some time so that they can read themselves the quote, so I don't have to read when they're reading, and I am adding to the slide. Follow me? That's the difference. I literally show the slide and a pause, and there's a silence in the room, and the whole audience is reading, and then I add to it. Let me give another example. So let's say I'm presenting this slide to you, and I can say, according to the management guru Peter Drucker, there's 5 critical questions that we have to ask ourselves. Number 1, what is our mission? Number 2, who is our customer? Number 3, what does the customer value? Number 4, what are our results? Number 5, what is our plan? Now you see, as I'm reading these questions, you go, dude, you're trying to read, Roberto. I'm reading, I'm trying to process information. That is a really good way for me to bore you, the audience. No bueno. So how, let's say I really want to show these questions and I want to use the pause to make this information more persuasive, more impactful. How do I do it? I can say, guys, there are 5 really important questions that every single business owner, they have to ask themselves, according to the management guru Peter Drucker. Number 1 is this one. What is our mission? Why you're doing this for? Right? What are you going after? Number 2, what's your ideal client? Who is our customer? What's the person that you're serving? Number 3, the person who writing the check every month for us. What do they value most? What's important to them? Right? What does a customer value? Number 4, today, what kind of results we have so far? What's your proof that you can provide to our clients? What's the proof that you can do the job? Number 5, and the last question is this one. What's your plan? See, I'm trying, when I'm using pause here, I'm giving you a little space before I actually ask the question. Now, yes, sometimes I can read the question, I can paraphrase it a little bit, I can add to it, but I'm making more impactful, more influential, because I'm giving the audience some time to think about it. Number 2, I don't know if you noticed, when I was presenting the previous slide like this, and a lot of people make this mistake, they show the 5 questions right away. So the moment I'm like, what is our mission? You're already in the question number 2. Who is our customer? Because you can read way faster than I can talk. So by the time the 3rd question, 4th question already done with the slide. And that's no bueno, right? You don't want to do that. And that the idea here, you go 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Right? So you go like, you review 1, then another, then another, then another. And I put the question, I like to do, I put the question, allow them to read it, and then I can, if I want to paraphrase the question, if I want to repeat the question, if I want to add to the question, I can. I'm just trying to increase my presentation flexibility, meaning that I want to have different ways to present information. And this is our last example here. Let's say I show you this slide and I go, this is about crowd psychology. What this slide tells us is that the larger the crowd, the less intelligent they are, and the more emotional they get. Now you see, as I'm explaining this slide to you, you're trying to visualize and process information at the same time. It's hard. Now, if I were to make this presentation more influential using pauses, I can go like this. I can go, guys, I want to share with you, I can frame it the message for to say, look, this is one of the coolest concepts about crowd psychology. Check it out. As you can see, the larger the audience, usually the less intellect they have, and the more emotionally engaged about the subject they become. All right? So now I'm adding to it. If you notice, I frame this slide, I show this slide, I pause 4 or 5 seconds, I give some time to process information, and then I explain and I add to it. I believe that's a good way to present information. Now, if you learn more about how to use presentations to get more clients, make more money, have more fun, and become the thought leader in your marketplace, just go to www.influenceology.com. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, just subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next video series. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Welcome to our series, 7 Ways to Transform Pause into Influence. This is Roberto Monaco here with InfluenceOlogy. In this video series, you're going to discover 7 quick ways to transform pauses into influence, regardless if you're doing one-on-one presentations, if you're doing video presentations, webinars, teleconference calls, or if you're doing traditional public speaking, you will be able to use these ideas to make your message even more persuasive. Now, I developed a quick acronym